You are now listening to the Artist King podcast.
Welcome to another Artist King podcast. This is episode 21, and I am your host, DTM. This week, we share the Artist King panel discussion from Tuesday, October 7th at Emory University. Artist King 2014, Art Business Discussion Panel, Part 5, Women in the Arts. Where are the women artists? Our moderator was Tracy Morrell. Our panelists were Tamika Grooms, Yun Bai, Alisa Rocket Power Lewis, Liz Sanquich, and Ann Rolls, founder of the Women Caucus for Art of Georgia. In this podcast, we will hear the complete panel discussion as various important lessons and experiences are shared, plus questions from the audience are answered. This panel discussion is part 5 of the 8-week Artist King panel discussions going on around Atlanta, and include Burn Away, C4 Atlanta, and Wonder Root. We're proudly sponsored by the law offices of Deborah Gonzalez, Atlanta Tech Village, C4 Atlanta, Wonder Root, Burn Away, RevolveSkate.com, Binders Art Store, and Velocity Screen Print. Please visit artistking.org for a complete listing of the Artist King 2014 panel discussions and venues involved, along with the web links to each of the panelists. Now on to our panel discussion.
So good to see everybody. I want to welcome you. This is a topic that's very dear to my heart because, of course, I'm a female artist, and I've been doing a lot of research on the topic and collected all this information, but I am very interested in sharing experiences and with my fellow female artists so that we can all grow. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep this very simple. What I'd like to do is for each of our panelists to introduce themselves and talk about what medium they are working in currently, and so we can get an essence of where they are in their art career. And we're going to start on the far end with Ann. Ann Rawls is the founder of the Women's Caucus for Art of Georgia. And you're on.
I'm also probably, I think I'm the old lady on the panel. Been doing this for a while. Medium. I have been through quite a few mediums in my career, and I was telling them earlier, I describe myself as media promiscuous. Doesn't that sound good? Yeah, I like that line. In recent years, I have been crocheting my art. I crochet sculpture. I consider myself a sculptor, not a fiber artist, because sometimes it's fiber, sometimes it's not. Sometimes, who knows? It could be anything. And I worked. I guess the last 9 or 10 years after my mom fell and hurt herself, and I had to spend a lot more time with her. Actually, finally brought her to Atlanta and took her to the hospital and the doctor's office and blah, blah, blah. And the as you see, that's a very portable media. She's knitting, I was crocheting. You're knitting, right?
Yes, I'm knitting.
But I was crocheting. And it's similar in that you just take it with you. So, what else?
No, whatever you want, just about what you're working on currently.
Oh, so currently I'm trying to figure out where I'm going next. It was very much centered around my mom. Did a lot of body parts. If she hurt her body part, I crocheted it. And then I did some abstract things too for comic relief. She passed away last summer, and I'm in the process of figuring out what's next. Trying some new things. So,
Okay, fantastic.
that's where I am.
All right. Excellent.
My name is Yun Bai, and I've been painting for 11 years professionally, and most people know me in working with porn magazines. And I've been I came up with the idea that women are flowers, and basically I was an Agnes Scott alum back in the day in 2000, 2001, and my mom came down with endometrial cancer. And I was like, Jan, how are you going to come up with money for college? Like, how are you going to come up with money quickly and legally? Because I was like, you'd be a really bad drug dealer, Jan. You'd just be bad at it. So I worked as an exotic dancer to get through school. And, it was just like awakening when you're 21, and it's just a whole different world. And so I graduated. Mom is still with us with her tiger mom-ness. And that's basically where the Porn Flowers evolved from. And right now I'm putting together a social movement because I do a lot of social activism with my art. And we're in Atlanta, so I've always been trying to get men to support the women's movement. And, I'm back in Atlanta. I was in LA for 6 years. And I came back, and Atlanta's changed so much. It's really popping. It's exciting. It's like the mecca of hip-hop. And for some reason, I met a lot of people in the Atlanta hip-hop community, and we're getting rappers to support women's rights. That's the movement that we're doing right now. And I've explored with other mediums like photography and installation, but I would never, see myself as a photographer. I see myself more of like a painter doing photography, or a painter doing installation, a painter exploring, and that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay, thank you. Alyssa?
Hi, my name is Elisa Lewis. Some of you may know me as Rocket Power. I am currently an animator at Floyd County Productions, and I work on FX's series Archer. I graduated from the Savannah College of Art and Design Atlanta campus with a BFA in traditional animation. Though at work I do lip syncing and character animation, character rigging, and environmental setup. I'm the vice president of ASIFA Atlanta, which is the largest animation organization in the Southeast. I specialize in member services, which entails doing everything from coordinating events to finding artist jobs. And right now, most recently, I have founded a animation resource company called My Animation Life, MAL for short, and it'll be launched in 2015.
Thank you. Tamika?
Okay. Excuse me. My name is Tamika Grooms. I am a fine artist and a painter. Here recently I've been focusing on children's books. And I think maybe having young kids, I've become really inspired by the stories I used to read when I was a child. And now I'm starting to study and look at artists who have a longer history, and seeing what inspires them and how they really tell a story. So it doesn't always have to be real cutesy, but we can inspire people through stories. So right now I'm traveling down that vein, but I still paint other things as well. So a lot of my work is geared towards women and children, and I really am passionate about involving women in the arts. And so just this weekend, I went to a conference that was dealing with women and finding balance in their lives, and I gave a presentation on actually inviting creativity into your life, but also finding that balance that everyone needs. So,
Don't we? Yes, we are. Well, thank you very much. So as you see, we have a very talented panel. And so we have lots of words of wisdom, but I want us to also get to a point where we're engaging in conversation. So I have 3 areas that I'd like us to start with. But before we jump into that, I want to just give out some sobering statistics on the reality of women in the art world. And this is from the National Museum of Women in the Arts, which is focusing on tracking women and their growth within the museums and their exhibition. And it says that 51% of visual artists today are women. So we are the majority. But only 28% of museums solo exhibitions spotlight women, and that's in 8 selected museums that they polled and were tracking. Only 27 women are represented in the current edition of Mr. H.W. Janson's survey, History of Art, and this is up from 0 in 1980. And the women earn half of the MFAs granted in the U.S. Only a quarter of solo exhibitions in New York galleries feature women. And women lag behind men in directorships held in museums with budgets over $15 million, holding 24% of art museum director positions and earning 71 cents for every dollar earned by their male directors. And we are definitely not bashing any males in here. We want your support. There's a recent article that was out by Bloomberg News, and it said, title got me. It says, "Women artists beginning to narrow the gender gap." And I was like, oh yeah, what's going on over here? And it was talking about the top 4 women. I mean, this is the top 4 that at auction are selling at the highest level. And after this nice article, which I have with me, it says, but the bottom line is, top women artists have brought in 7 cents per dollar generated by their male peers since 2004. So that's what the best of the best of the best are doing, that have sold millions of dollars, auctioned $3.4 million recently. So obviously there's an issue, there's a problem. So in addition to these challenges where there's inequity, of a gender inequity in the art, what are some of the challenges and obstacles would I say our panelists have had to deal with?
I'll go first.
Yes, go right ahead.
Working in animation, I think the biggest challenge is just being a bro. I am raised by a traditional West Indian family where women have their place and they do certain things, and then men have their place and they do certain things, and they don't cross. So jumping into any field that is tech, like game design, animation, etc., you're gonna run into a culture that has already been established. And to not rock the boat, you should try to jump into that culture. So learning, dude things, like what's the latest video game, what are some of the slang words that are used in these, in this culture. I learned, am I right? Have you heard that one? Am I right? Am I right? It's am I right, but it's written am I right? Yeah, I learned that one. Yeah, I thought it was like a group of people. I thought it was pretty derogatory, but it's not. Yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge for me each day, is to really soak in the culture and to try to transform my traditional female-role upbringing into a more male role, and to glide with that.
Before we go on to another panelist, how many females are working, are your peers?
On the animation department, 2. There's me and another girl.
And how big is your team?
Fluctuates between 15 to 20 something people.
Okay.
I was the first girl on season 3. There were 2 other women, but they were on the first 2 seasons of Archer, and they weren't there when I got there.
I gotcha. Okay. Cool. All right. Thank you. Yes.
Are you familiar with the Shannon Meyer?
Yes.
Okay, you work with her?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the other side.
No, she's not. She's not an animator.
Okay. Who else would like to answer that question? Yes.
Mine, like I spoke of before, is more so about balance. I think because I've dealt with the same thing that you're talking about, because I'm coming from a profession that's engineering, and so I know what that feels like. But now I'm going into another profession that is like the exact same thing, and so balancing that, when you're in a work environment, but then still having to deal with the responsibilities that you have with your family, your your other responsibilities in life, and then trying to eke out a little bit of time just for yourself to actually do art. So mine is a lot of times a time responsibility balance, and a lot of times you're not supported as a woman when you want to do something that sounds frivolous, like be an artist, because the society doesn't really value it a lot of times. And then to be a female is even harder. So that's for me, my personal.
Okay, balance.
Yeah.
I would say my overall problems would be dealing with sexism and having opportunities and I guess gates open available to me. For example, I was calling